I a fake fan, you know? Was it gonna teach me about them? That would be great. Snaznaya's on something, right? The Fatui are on something, and they're really pretty while doing it. What game am I playing? We don't trust the Fae. So, in my quest to get caught up with things, I'm going through the list of like reaction content, and it's not a list. It's literally just what's in my like Twitter notification feed that I've just not paid attention to in ages. We have one more piece of Genshin catch-up material to get through that I totally missed in the content catch-up, and I feel like it's not relevant enough to the new patch stuff, so I actually just started recording this without even thinking, and I probably should have done this with the patch. However, Miss Song of the Welkin Moon, I have not touched, and I keep forgetting to touch it because it's a web event, technically, that is constantly being updated. So this is part 2, the part 2 update that we're going to talk about. Pay no attention to my hand tracking. I've been messing with it, so it's a little weird today, but we're going to check this out. I'm quite excited for this, actually, so, because I know it's a good, like, lore bit. So I have not taken a look at Song of the Welkin Moon at all yet. I will unmute it. I did mute it so I could do my intro really quickly because it's very loud because it's a web event. So you can either turn off the sound entirely or like have it blaring in your ears. So I did mess with my OBS settings a little bit, and we are gonna go through this. And let's hit start. Now, I don't have GPU acceleration on because I was at Google Chrome has issues with GPU acceleration. So pay attention to that if there is any like lagging. It's my fault and not the web event's fault. I might have GPU acceleration on. The Trinity of Moon Goddesses who once steered, okay, I don't have to speed, who once steered the primordial celestial sphere and wove love and passion into the very heart of the world, have long since faded into the shadows of time. Now, I am a lore player. I say this all the time, but I'm not caught up with the lore because I've been going crazy and trying to do everything. I'm fixing that. Don't worry, I'm fixing that. So, I vaguely knew about the moon goddesses, but I feel like I don't know enough to speak on it, especially after scrolling on Twitter and seeing so many people who know way more about Genshin lore than I ever could. And I a fake fan, you know? Like, I was scrolling and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know some of these things. Oh my god. Like, okay. But yeah, 3 moon goddesses. I vaguely knew about this. It was a scroll to continue. Okay, I clicked to continue. Those who follow the tides still sing and pray, for a new moon is set to rise. Follow the tides reminds me of Fontaine. It'd be great if everything was like connected a little bit. Oh, 3 stars for the 3 moon goddesses. So tap this one. Oh, is it gonna teach me about them? That would be great. When the eternal moon fell, the heavens and earth were thrown into chaos. So it looks like we'll have 3 different moons then, which is really interesting actually. When the iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. There being 3 moons does, I know people hate when people bring up Honkai in relation to Genshin, but it's something I do a lot. So if you've been around for any amount of time, you're probably okay with that. I wonder if the 3 moons are supposed to be not even reference to like the trio, but like, I mean, it could be because the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. Could be a lot of different things, but it makes me think of a couple different Honkai Impact related things, and especially more in relation to even Honkai Star Rail. It's interesting to say the least. But our 3rd star then, the Frost Moon. Star, it's moons, whatever. When the Frost Moon ceased to turn, nations faltered and fell into ruin. Okay, so now I'm kind of fully into that. The first one very much reminded me possibly of Kiana. 2nd was May. 3rd, Frost Moon, Bronya, which could be really interesting, a really interesting concept, because I've had theories and seen other people's theories about how the Honkai trio might be related to Genshin Impact before, and I think that I don't think the 3 moons are like a, what's the word, like a one-to-one, like that's the trio. No, I do think it might be more of a like nod to, or like repeated concepts that Hoyoverse likes to use sort of thing, rather than a full complete like one-to-one comparison. This is supposed to be that reference to this. I think it might just be a little like more an Easter egg of sorts, quite frankly, because I just like looking at them. Eternal moon, but eternal because it's heavens and earth were thrown into chaos. Because also it seems like a timeline, because then the eternal moon being the heavens and earth were thrown into chaos, that's that first little bit. Then we have more, the iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea, more of the creation of like the abyss and stuff. And then Frost Moon, I think might be also related in the timeline of Genshin, related to Snaznaya doing something related to like the unnamed god and all that. Like, Snaznaya's on something, right? So I think this is probably because Frost Moon must be in relation to that, I'm assuming. Because does seem like a timeline. Like the Eternal Moon going kaput was the beginning of it, and then the abyss, everything fell into the abyss, and then Snaznaya is doing God knows what. The Fatui are on something, and they're really pretty while doing it. All right, what's then the big moon? The world no longer sheltered by eternity. Okay, kind of that's probably a reference back to Inazuma and the Archon quest we did there, because Raiden always talked about eternity. I think, am I remembering that correctly? Marches towards its final breath, yet from the ashes, the new moon rises, its ascent spinning the wheel of fate anew. So we have one moon in Teyvat now at this point. There's only one. So this is the moon we see. Originally there was 3. Interesting that because we have 2 Archons that were around, technically three. We have at least 3 Archons that were around when there would have been those 3 moons, technically. Venti, Zhongli, even though she was not the Archon at the time, she was around because her twin sister was the Archon. And I think the Tsaritsa actually also might have been around. So possibly 4. The only 2 that confirmed were not around at the time were Nahida, because she wasn't, Nahida would have been 1, or 3 confirmed. Farina, because she wasn't spawned yet. Love you, Farina. But, and then the last one would be maevely. I'm pretty sure she was, because she was a human first. So that's a whole thing. Moving on then with our little lore dump. Do I have to scroll? Yeah, it was a scroll. Scroll to continue. Is this our new, that's a path. That's a path. Wait, why do these look like star rail paths? What game am I playing? We gotta start here. Wait, no, that doesn't look like a star rail path. That's something in, okay, that's the Fatui logo. Wait, okay, all right, okay, we're safe. This is what was added recently. This is who's rocking up to not Snezhnaya, but a secret third thing, nod-krai, which I think that's how you say it, because I haven't really gotten the full lore on that yet. But as far as I know and have seen, this is where we're going next, I think. This might be related to Snezhnaya. I'm not fully sure because I've just seen like whisperings, but this is who's rocking up. So actually we're gonna go in order. Oh, I guess we'll start with the Fatui then. So we have the Fatui. We'll just go down the list because it circles. The Fatui. The Pale Star Edict, that highest of commands has gone out. Oh, so it's getting like down to the wire. Like the Tsaritsa is getting like desperate. So this should be interesting. With it, the Fatui Harbingers have been summoned back to Snezhnaya and dispatched to Nod-krai, so that's where we're going. The people stare and wonder, for what purpose does this army, bearing the banner of the Pale Star, come to their city? Or perhaps the question should be, for whom? I'm assuming it's because we're going to be there, and Fatui, like I said, they're on one, so that's one of the groups. There's a lot of groups rocking up, which I think is going to be really fun. I feel like it's going to be there's gonna be a lot of political intrigue, not like politics in the traditional sense of like, politics, but in the terms of like political intrigue being like, there's so many factions at play here, and the relationships in between all those factions and what's going on, they're all have different goals. Obviously, us and the Fatui immediately have different goals. I think it's going to be really, really interesting how this plays out, and that's kind of the political intrigue of it all. There probably will be some politics in the traditional sense of politics, but there's also going to be just like the interactions and goals between all these different groups is going to create a lot of like political intrigue in the fact of just like the interactions of the groups, not traditional politics sense. So then we have the Frostmoon Scions. This, I think of 2 things. From far away, I was like, that's the symbol for the hunt, right? But also I've seen some people possibly reference this to Hersher Sela in Honkai because of the deer she has. So I've seen quite a few Honkai Impact references made here, but I think there's also the wild hunt here. That should be interesting. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of, first of all, already kind of seeing a lot of like, I don't know if it's Norse or what, but a lot of like folktale and mythological references, like with things like the hunt and stuff like that, I feel like could be really interesting there. Obviously, we're going to Snezhnaya. That is the nation that is based not just on Russia, but like surrounding European countries, that sort of area, which is actually my background in a sense. So that's like, I feel like it's gonna be fun. Like, obviously I'm American, but like my family is from like those European countries. So I think it's gonna be fun. Anyways, Frostmoon Scions, the descendants of the legendary Golden Realm, who chose to find new homes among the mountains and forests after abandoning their ancient civilization. Not necessarily the Fae, because I think the Fae is in here somewhere else. Something close to that. The only thing they never forsook was their faith in the moon goddess. However, with the arrival of the Fatui, it appears that their tranquil lives are about to fade into the realm of yesterday. So it seems like it's like a singular moon goddess here. I'm wondering if they're like this like civilization that remembers the 3 moon goddesses and like very much reveres those 3 moon goddesses, and like they're coming back. There's gonna be a second coming of the moon goddess, which could get a little bit messy. Or, because it says singular moon goddess, so I'm very curious about that, because there was three, but only some of the archons and like maybe nouvelettes actually would remember, like people like that who've been around for God knows how long would remember those sort of things. Okay, moving on, Light Keepers. Very pretty here. The ancient organization that has long defended Nod-krai's freedom and peace against the ceaseless incursions and wild hunt attacks, we'll get to that in a second, launched by the Abyss. Now severely weakened from battles past. So not cops, more like a sheriff. In the face of new threats, none can say for sure if the new generation of Rathniki will remain able to carry out their mission. Okay, interesting. I'd like to know more. Light Keepers, I'd like to know more about them. Hexen Circle, they're back! So we have had experience with the Hexen Circle before in Fontaine. We had one of the Hexen Circle people, we were talking to them like through a cup of tea. There was an event with the Hexen Circle before. Klee's mom is part of the Hexen Circle. So we've had some experience with them before. And now it looks like we'll finally be able to like physically meet some of these people, because in the past we've only talked to them through like osmosis. Located at the quote-unquote edge of the world, Nod-krai has always been the stage where conflicts and dramas unfold one after another. How could the Hexen Circle possibly miss out on this golden opportunity? I kind of love that. I kind of love that. Straight to the point there. All right, so Wild Hunt was related to the Light Keeper. Was it Light Keepers? Yeah, the Light Keepers. Wild Hunt and the Light Keepers are at odds. So the Wild Hunt. This looks familiar, and actually this is very reminiscent of, I think, a material in Honkai Impact 3rd, quite frankly. I can say that because I just did my Honkai Impact 3rd dailies. I was just in there. The armies of the Abyss sweep across the wilderness and canyons like a storm, and if you venture close enough, you may even hear their eerie whispers. These lost, soulless monsters appear to be silently searching for something. I'm curious if these will be a new form of hilichurl, actually, because I think we know from past lore in relation to like Enkanomiya and not Celestia, but the other one. Why can't I remember this thing? Hold on, I am gonna look this up. Genshin, where are hilichurl? Genshin Impact or hilichurl's human. That works. That'll probably tell me what I need to know. Can you tell me where they're from? Khaenri'ah. Why couldn't I remember Khaenri'ah? Oh my god. Listen, I'm a forgetful person. I have been going through a little depression, so I forget things, okay? Anyways, we know from like Khaenri'ah adjacent lore that hilichurls were once human, and that they were essentially cursed by Celestia, the gods, for essentially, like, I remember correctly, not fully believing in the gods, wanting to kind of walk their own path. So they were like, you're an abomination to society, we're turning you into hilichurls, which is really messed up if you think about it. Again, related to the 500 years ago curse in the world and all that jazz. It's deep in the lore, all right? It's deep in the lore, but not deep enough that if you're playing the game and like actually paying attention to the story at all, like not even fully paying attention, like vaguely paying attention, you probably know this. It makes me think that the Wild Hunt might be like another, like an evolution of those hilichurls who maybe were like the first to be cursed or something that we didn't see before, because we did kind of see some like the first to be cursed before. We were friends with one of them for a short while in a quest or something. It's a whole thing. But also that was our, I say Ether, because I play as Limine, but it was our sibling technically, who that was them in the story. We were technically at the sibling, but it being related to the Abyss, because that's where they were delegated to, right? The Abyss. It makes me think we're having like abyssal hilichurls rocking up. And that's what the Wild Hunt is. Somebody is leading those Wild Hunt hilichurls, and it makes me think it's the sibling. So, like I said, in the case of I'm playing as Lumine, it would be Ether, the Abyss twin. I think might be related to the Wild Hunt. That might be what they're called. I feel like we've gotten a name for that group before, like the Abyss Squad or something, that where the sibling is their leader, but I can't remember it. Because they do call them lost, soulless monsters. They appear to be silently searching for something. Makes me think it's like a silent hilichurl. They're gonna be like purple or something, have like ghostly fumes coming off of them, something like that. Because then the searching for something bit could be in relation to them searching for the life they lost or something like that when they were turned into a hilichurl. Celestia's really messed up, all right? Next we have the Knights of Favonius, which might be RN, is what I'm assuming. That's why also this logo looked familiar. I'm like, that's preservation. No, that's the Knights of Favonius logo. That's why it looked familiar. Okay, so kind of makes me think this might be RN. We might be heading up there with the Knights of Favonius, which I would personally love that. I feel like it would be a good wraparound because we don't get enough interconnecting. Like one of my favorite things is when Mona rocked up in Fontaine, because that just felt like continuation. It felt like continuity, and I loved that. So I'm thinking that might be our in. Also, the Snowland Fae, I was right about the Fae being involved, which makes very much a lot of sense for where we're gonna be and where it's based, what it's based off of. So I feel like our in might be with the Knights of Favonius. I hope it is. Anyways, Knights of Favonius, a small group of elite knights from Mondstadt. Oh, no, I read that wrong. A small group of elite knights from the Mondstadt Expeditionary Force has followed their Grand Master across Shinsnaya, arriving in Nod-krai. So Nod-krai is in Shinsnaya. We know that now. I know that now. It is said that they have come on a crucial mission. They say Grand Master, I believe, isn't there a Grand Master like Vanessa or something? This is a character that, again, has been referenced since the very beginning of the game, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's who. But also I'm thinking we head out with maybe Eula and Mika and some characters that have been referenced before but haven't really fully gotten their spotlight in Mondstadt. Because also, the reason why Eula and Mika haven't gotten their full spotlight is they're on the same team together and they're out doing stuff. So that might be how we end up getting our in. I would love that if we start the Shinsnaya Archon quest in Mondstadt, because I also think it would make a lot of sense if for the summer event this year, which is what we get before we get the new nation, I think it would make a lot of sense for the summer event if we went back to Golden Apple, just because we had Fontaine where we got to, Mona Hexencircle stuff would happen there. I think it would make the most sense to head back to Golden Apple. And I have said this before, I think in Genshin content, that I don't even know if it's gone up yet, but it is recorded. So there's that. Yeah. So I think it would be really good if the Knights of Favonius were in for Shinsnaya. I think it would make the most sense as well. Next, we have the Voynich Guild. The merchants of Nasha Town formed a commerce guild to maintain basic order. However, how could the outlaws that prowl between the islands be controlled by something as simple as mere rules? It seems that the honor of striking fear into their hearts must go to the boss lady of the Curatorium of Secrets. I am so excited to find out what's going on here. I know nothing about the guild. I feel like this is a new faction for Shinsnaya, which makes sense that we would have a guild. There's merchants from Shinsnaya just about everywhere in Teyvat. So this makes sense. It makes sense. But I don't really have much to say on them because they are kind of a newer faction, at least in my mind. I have not heard of them before. But we have met merchants from Shinsnaya throughout the entire game, so it makes sense that there's a merchants guild. We have the treasure hoarders, again, a group that we have had experience with time and time again as opponents in the game. The treasure hoarders have since spread throughout the rest of Teyvat, but their origin in nod-krai remains a little known fact. The Great Treasure Left Behind by Reed Miller, which sounds like a name at a Star Rail. I bet I could open up, there's like a Miller in Star Rail, I think, if you go through the databank, or something like a very similar sounding name. The legendary thief who yearned to create a world without boundaries is said to be buried somewhere here. So almost like a Robin Hood figure, it seems like. Thief who wanted to create a world without boundaries, that sounds like a Robin Hood type figure. So understandable, okay. Which I would actually kind of love if the treasure hoarders had a more like humble beginnings sort of thing. Like they had like a goal in mind that was for the greater good, but it kind of got lost along the way sort of thing. I think that could be really interesting and a really cool end point for the treasure hoarders, kind of like we had with the Hilly Churls, where like, oh, the Hilly Churls used to be humans, by the way. So something similar to that, but not as like gut punch, because that was a gut punch. The Hilly Troll thing was a gut punch. Snowland Fae. First of all, don't trust the Fae. We don't trust the Fae. Don't do it. Also, there was a first Cryo Archon, so I was incorrect. The Tsaritsa that we have now in Genshin Impact is not one of the originals who was there 500 years ago. Different one, so it's not the current Tsaritsa. So I was incorrect in saying that earlier. I see that right here. Anyways, I'm also seeing the Tsaritsa might be part of the Fae, which makes a lot of sense, actually, if you think about it. Because the whole thing with the Fae is like, you don't trust the Fae. If you tell them your name, you're done. They're gonna kill you. You're done for. Like, don't trust the Fae. Don't give them anything. Don't do it. Don't even look at them. Don't even breathe in their direction. They will kill you. So, I mean, if the Tsaritsa was part of the Snowland Fae, that would make so much sense, because you think about the Fatui and how certain characters, it seems like they didn't even want to be part of the Fatui, but they just got like stuck in the Fatui. Think about like Arlecchino's backstory. I mean, she was young and she killed somebody in the Fatui before that, and that's how she got stuck in it. But I mean, it would make enough sense in like Fae lore, if that's like, it kind of like adds up in my mind. That's what I'm saying. Like, it adds up. Okay, so Snowland Fae, the Fae who once followed the first Cryo Archon, the Beli Tsar, ruling the Northlands in their entirety. So, was the original Cryo Archon a man? We have the Tsaritsa and the Tsar. Those are like, like, Interesting, because we have like, I think that's the whole thing now. It's like, give us another male Archon. Oh, we want more male characters, which I've said this before. I'm okay with whoever we get in Genshin because I like the pretty girls and I like the pretty guys. All right, so I don't care. I literally don't care. I'm okay with anyone. But I think it's really interesting then that because most of the time, if we have a previous Archon, they stay within the same like gender category. But to have a switch like that would very much be interesting. It kind of even rolls around back to Fontaine and how Fontaine was like really different in the fact that Farina was the Archon, but inevitably we end up with Neuvillette kind of taking over, but he's not the Archon. Whole thing there. But the Tsar ruled the Northlands in their entirety. Though now shorn of their former glory, they still influence the nation in their own ways. One can only guess what path they will take as Calamity draws ever closer. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Also, we have 2 more. I thought the Snowland Fae was the last one. Interesting. So the Fae once followed the first Archon, but I'm assuming if it's making that distinction, they do not follow the Tsaritsa. So I'm very interested what happened there to like create beef, if you will. I'm interested in that for sure. Also, they say the Northlands in their entirety, so it makes me think maybe nod-krai is separate from Snezhnaya. Possibly, unsure. We'll see. Very interested in how the Fae are gonna come up because I've said this, I've been on this for years, right? I read a lot of fantasy. Don't trust the Fae. Don't do it. You're asking for it if you trust don't do it. All right, Adventurers Guild. All right, we know the Adventurers Guild. Agastra Abasask. The guild's strong presence in an adventurer's paradise like Nod-krai is only natural. A certain important figure from the guild's headquarters is preparing to welcome you as a sign of respect. Obviously, I'm thinking that's Catherine immediately, like a ha funny Catherine joke, but also Catherine is technically a robot of sorts from Snezhnaya. So maybe it's like OG Catherine, like a human Catherine who all the robots were built off of, or like maybe something else, like a secret third thing there. I'm very curious who the important figure is, but I'm assuming it's just going to be another Catherine. Whether that's a real human Catherine or a robo Catherine is yet to be seen, but I'm curious what happens there. I feel like that's a little haha funny, and I'm curious what direction it's going to go in, because again, like it's about time we figure out the whole Catherine thing. Like this has been going on for years. The rebooting, like we've been doing this for years. Okay, last but not least, we have the Clink Clank Crumb Cake Craft Shop, which what a cute little logo. I am fully expecting the owner of the Crumb Cake Craft Shop to be some sort of XP for Vilvi from Honkai Impact 3rd. Fully expecting it. I'm kidding. But I would love it if she was, because we haven't gotten her yet, and I love her. So, because also I don't think we're getting a true Vilvi XP or variant or anything in Amphorius in Star Rail. So I would like it if we got something here instead. Just tied me over a little bit. So for the craft shop, it began as a small workshop that a certain prodigy used to research the world's best crumb cake machine. But over time, after the creation of many intricate inventions, it gained a new identity as a famous machine workshop. All right, really. So I'm assuming this is where we're gonna this is our forge place, you know, weapons and stuff. Be sure to mind your manners when begging that genius for a favor. Again, makes me think it might be a Vilvi XP, or whatever component she gives you might be liable to cough out a nasty crumb cake at any time. I'm fully assuming now at this point that this is the Vilvi XP variant. Even just in appearance, I am expecting it, quite frankly. And if we don't get a Vilvi adjacent character for the Clink Clank Crumb Cake Craft Shop, say that 5 times fast, we'll be sad. I'll be a little sad, I will, but I'm curious with this one. This one excites me a lot. I love the logo. That was immediately what kind of did it, because it's fun. And I'm like, oh, it reminds me of Vilvi. Yeah, I do think it's going to be pretty related to her. And I would love that. Quite frankly, I would love it. Is that it? Oh, no, we do our click. Okay. The Wheel of Fate points in 11 directions. And then we scroll. Wow. The frost moon scions of Hisi Island pray to the moonlight in their hearts, sacred and unsullied. I saw somebody point this out on Twitter as well, so this is not me, but the architecture here is also very reminiscent of, not just here, but everywhere. In this nod-krai Snezhnaya area is very reminiscent of some of the architecture we've seen in places like Enkanomiya and like the chasm. But also this is one of the nails, because we have one of these in Dragonspine, I believe. These like nails that are related to celestial lore. So like those will come back. And also, that's probably kind of what's drawing us here is one of these nails, is that we have to like, because we did something with it in Dragon Spine, so we'll have to fix it here as well, probably. Oh, I scrolled the opposite direction. Free me from this animation. Okay, cool. So this is one of the places we're going, I'm assuming then. Why is it, can you scroll me in the right direction? Can my mouse work today? Either that or it's just scrolling me backwards because there we go. People of the moonlit world, please await the turning of the moon for it will bring new revelations. Interesting. Oh, okay, this is just like the coming soon. I know there's a schedule for when they're updating this. There is in-game rewards, so it does look like I need to hold on, let me log in. One sec. Server, America. Okay, there we go. Share rewards, sure. Share, we'll do a little link copy. This is sharing enough. So I can get I have to get my rewards in game, but share the Wheel of Fate or Hisi Island page. Go, sure. The Wheel of Fate. Also, the Wheel of Fate. That's very tarot card adjacent, don't we think? Cool. More primos. Ooh, there's wallpapers. How pretty. Ooh, I love the Hisi Island wallpaper. I'm actually downloading that, hold on. I might actually make this my wallpaper. That's beautiful. All right, throw that in my pictures folder. Awesome, cool, great. That's beautiful. I do also think the Wheel of Fate is very reminiscent of the like Trace's screen in Honkai Star Rail, so that's interesting as well. I know that there's like a, because this goes until May 10th, but I know that at one point there was a post of when this will update, but I'm not seeing it here. So, I mean, we'll just come back when we get another update. It's no big deal. But now that I'm like caught up with what's going on here and we did a little bit of a lore dive, we're caught up now. So I can come back later and it's not as much of a daunting experience of like, oh my God, I have to like, there's so much lore here, but I'm really excited for what we get in the future with this whole bit, because I think this is really interesting. Obviously, as a lore player, I've been waiting for Shnesnaya for literal years at this point. So, and hey, I know I'm not the only one, so this is gonna be really exciting. I'm really excited. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully the music in the background wasn't too loud, but it was too good to like not include. I know somebody also has gone into the page coding, because you can do that in multiple different web browsers. I know you can do it in Google Chrome. I've done it before, and found like the name of this track, I believe. Like you can go into the web coding for this page and find a lot of stuff. I'm not going to do that right now just because I don't know how like spoiler or like leak heavy that is, and I don't want to step on any toes. But it is something you can do. And I don't necessarily think going into the coding is like against any TOS or anything, because it's right there. And you can like check that in most web browsers. But I think somebody has found the name of this song playing as well, and it's like relevant things too. I don't know for sure, don't quote me. But yeah, I feel like we've had some, because with Fontaine and Natlin, mixed opinions from players all around. I feel like most players, if you loved Natlin, you didn't love Fontaine. Not that you hated it, but you didn't love it, so it like wasn't your favorite. Or if you loved Fontaine, you didn't love Natlin. I know that there's probably people who did not love or love both, but I feel like there's, especially lore-wise, been a lot of people who, and like story-wise in general, who didn't love both of the past two Archon quests. Like they only liked one. So I haven't finished Natlin yet. I barely finished Fontaine. So yeah, I'm curious to see where we go with that. We will see. We will see. But that is it for this video. I will link this page down below if you have not seen it yet. Go get your primos, because there's some primos to be gotten. If you like this video, make sure to give me a like down below, as well as subscribe for more and click the little notification bell to be notified when I upload new ones. As always, I hope everyone had or is having a super lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all in my next video. Which, the next Genshin video will be the patch video, I swear on it. Actually, it might not. I have another one ready to edit. But next Genshin video I'm recording is the Verisipulse, I swear. Bye, guys. Bye.